republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 2 is public comment, but since there is no public here, but under public comment, I'd like to bring up comment also. The Conservation Commission has suggested for themselves that they, for hearings now in the future, because we've always set them at like 6:05, 6:10, 6:15, that we make the time for the hearings 6:05, whether we have 1, 2, or 3. That way, if one hearing doesn't go, we don't have to sit around and wait 5 minutes. Because you can start a hearing early, but it's fine to start them late. So if we make 6:05 the standard time for all hearings, unless we get a ton of them at one night, but I don't think that'll happen. That was a suggestion from the Conservation Commission. I don't know if I don't think we need to vote on it, but unless somebody has some objections, that's the way I'll have Nicole set up the meetings from here on in. Any questions?
No, but
Okay, any objections?
Once it's
That
legal.
way, we don't have to sit around and twiddle our thumbs if, for some reason, somebody doesn't show up, or we have to postpone the hearings. Yes, Mr.
One of the things that could be done, though, is, and it's not a complaint either, but as these things come in, if she sees something that's gonna take 5 minutes or something, put it up front, you know? And, I mean, a couple times we've seen people sit out there for an hour or so, and so on and so forth. We can do this from within. I mean, you can move these things around, but, you know, if you give people the opportunity, if you get a couple of A&Rs, put them on first, you know, then they can go home.
Or even if there's a hearing where it's
Yeah,
very quick, having them at all at 6:05, we could move them.
We can take it out
It's a
of
good
order.
point, Bert.
Yeah, we can take it
now,
out
I
of order.
should point out that, at least it's on my computer and a couple of other things, the actual meeting notices and so on and so forth, it was in the Courier. It says we start at 6:30.
Oh, it did?
I'll contact
Yeah,
Inanna
we need
and
to-
correct
yeah,
it.
Yeah, it does. I don't think anybody's gonna pick that up, but I did.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thank
I
you
didn't
for
read
that.
You're welcome.
And then there was one other thing we wanted to take up in public comment, wasn't there?
The next meeting date.
Oh, next meeting date. Well, we've got everybody here. A suggestion was that, since one of our members will be out of town, for the meeting on the 7th, that we kick it forward to,
Take it back to January 24th.
okay, kick it back to January
Yeah, I'm
24th.
gonna be here, yeah.
Would that meet your
Yep,
approval?
that's fine, yep.
Okay,
appreciate that.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Wes?
fine,
Okay,
fine.
very good. So, now when I move this public hearing for Doyle Ave, I'll do it to the 27th instead of
24th.
the 24th.
Yeah, okay, I don't have a problem with that, you know, as long as they're ready. I mean, they've had enough time.
Yeah, comments did come back, so we should be fine. They came
Okay.
back today.
Now, okay, now, are all the abutters, I realize that's a pain in the neck. All the abutters going to be notified, and likewise, basically, on the Spring Street matter?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because we hadn't set the date
Satisfied with
for
all
the
that.
7th
Yeah.
to notify the abutter, so we can do it just as well to the 28th, is it?
And two, by opening and
24th.
continuing the hearing on Doyle, it's being announced in a public meeting, too, that it's going to be continued to the 24th.
It's the 24th.
So,
24th.
January 24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, put
And then
that down.
I'll update that in the hallway, too.
I'll make that as a motion, Mr. Chairman, for the 24th of January for both Doyle Avenue and,
McDonald's won't need to be.
Huh?
McDonald's, we should settle in tonight. It's just Doyle Ave that will need to be. Doyle Ave and any other planning.
what's the matter with McDonald's?
McDonald's, we're doing signing
Hopefully,
tonight.
we'll settle it
Yeah,
tonight.
hopefully we'll settle it tonight. So Doyle Ave and any other.
Yeah, because the hearing is closed for McDonald's, all we have to do is vote.
Yep, yep.
We had closed the hearing, and what we did is postpone the vote, but it get postponed again and again.
So it'll be next planning board meeting is is July, I wish it was
January.
January 24th, Doyle Ave matter and any other matters that need attention
Yeah.
at that
So our
time.
next planning meeting will be the 24th.
The 24th, yep.
Okay, very good. The minutes for 11/16/22 were sent out?
Yes.
Or actually
Sent
were in
out
the
later
packet?
today, yep, I just got them
Or
today,
meeting
so.
today, so I don't know if anybody's had a chance to review them. We want to vote on them, or,
Somebody else's vote.
Oh, it's combined minutes.
I wasn't
So the
here,
minutes are combined of both meetings onto one,
Okay,
so,
now, what have appeals done? Nothing?
nothing. They'll do it on the January 18th.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
fine.
So we can wait for them to do it, or we can review them and do it at the next meeting.
6 of one, half dozen other, whether we do it first.
Okay,
or we do-
I'll move that we approve the minutes by the votes of the members of the planning board on 11/16/22.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Amanda. Okay, any comments? If not, all in favor? Aye.
I have to abstain, I wasn't here.
Oh, that's true. Okay, and the chair votes aye, and so they're approved. Or as presented for the planning board part of it. Okay, the next item on our agenda is Commercial Drive subdivision. We have it listed as an A and R, but it is not an A and R. It is a
Subdivision approval.
subdivision plan, and all we're doing is signing it, so we can sign that at the end before we go. Next item is a public hearing on Doyle Ave. I will read the notice, and we'll open the hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Winchendon Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, at 6:05 PM to consider the request for a stormwater management permit for a property identified as Winchendon Assessors Map 8, Parcel 6, 14, 235 through 247, owned by Asher Construction LLC, stormwater management permit request for 7 single-family homes proposed per 2 previous recorded A&R plans. Said property is located in the R80 Rural Residential District. The hearing will be held in the second floor of the auditorium of the Winchendon Town Hall, 109 Front Street. Information is available at the Winchendon Planning and Development Office. All interested persons should plan to attend. Alternative translations and accommodations are available by advance request by contacting the Planning and Development Department at least 3 days in advance. And I call that hearing to open at 6:09. And now to note that the applicant were not ready today, so they asked us to move it to the next planning board meeting. Could you elaborate any more on that?
Yes, so there was a peer review done for the stormwater management, done by Ty and Bond. Ty and Bond returned the comments due to the Christmas vacation holiday, the long weekends. The engineer did not have a chance to review Ty and Bond's comments. So we did get those back, I think, Thursday or Friday of this past week. So they went back to Ty and Bond for a comment review, and then they just arrived this morning. So the planning board has not had time to review them. Ty and Bond, they just came back from Ty and Bond. So I talked to the engineer, and we were both in agreement to, for sake of being able to review the information properly, to go to the next available meeting, which at that time was February 7th. And I will notify the engineer that, in fact, we have decided to have a planning board meeting a bit early, which I'm sure he will be fine with. And the planning board meeting is now going to be January 24th to hear the Doyle Ave public hearing.
Okay, very good, thank you.
All right, I'll move this hearing be continued till 6:05 on the 24th day of January.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
very good.
I'll
We have a
second it.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and that is moved to the 24th. Now, have a public hearing continued for the planning board, hearing aspect of 235 Spring Street. The hearing is not open, has already been closed, so what we all have here is a discussion on what we want to do with it, approve, disapprove, and what conditions we want to put on it. And Nicole, do you have suggestion, or what have you been suggesting?
Yes, so my suggestion of the planning board, the zoning board of appeals, there was an old permit from 1991, actually October of 1991, that has not been fulfilled. So as part of the joint meeting that we had on November 16th, it was agreed by the zoning board of appeals, and this is the decision as stated, the detailed record decision, the zoning board of appeals granted a special permit to McDonald's Corporation based on the applicant's sworn testimony plans and the following findings and reasons. The modification of the special permit back from 1991 to include a second order point, and the applicant must revisit the original special conditions affecting permits A, B, C, and numbers 1 through 4 dated October 1991. And the special permit modification will remain in place and be revisited in November of 2023. Revisited just to see how things are going and see how they have made out in terms of fulfilling the previous special permit and the special permit modification. And what permits A, B, C, and numbers 1 through 4 referenced was a crosswalk, a sidewalk that's now needed to be legal, no parking signs, pedestrian crossing signs, things like of that nature. So it is suggested to mirror on the planning board side, seeing it has to do with the site plan and things that were approved back in 1991. Again, they're coming to us for more modifications, adding that second order point to mirror the ZBA decision and to record it as a planning board decision as well. And we may want to have a joint meeting in November of 2023 to decide whether or not, to review it and to see if there's any modifications or changes that we suggest be made.
Okay.
Well, almost everything in the 1991 permit, of which Nicole gave me a copy of, we talked about the other night. I don't have any problem with agreeing that, but I think we should have another hearing and bring in some of the butters who were concerned and simply point out, look, your concerns have already been addressed here. They just were never enforced. That's all there is to it. And if you read it, you might want to get a copy for everybody and so forth. If you read it, the crosswalks in there, the no parking signs there, and all of the things that were concerned, we had concerns the other night, and some of the abutters are there. It slipped through the cracks, okay, fine. Now, this changes the plans that the engineer drew. So I think we're gonna have to come back in here for another hearing and so on and so forth, because they've, the engineer obviously has got to make some changes.
The engineer, well, the changes regarding the sidewalk, but that will be upon the DPW's purview, because if they do add the sidewalk and the crosswalk, Brian Croto, our DPW director, will oversee that.
I think the no parking signs out on Spring Street ought to be in the permit.
Yes, and they are in the permit, and that's what they were referencing, items numbers 1 through 4. So no parking signs on either, this is number 1, no parking signs on either side of Spring Street and from Spring Street down Cross Street to a point beyond the rear entrance exit drive-through, and keep a free flow of traffic available. So there'll be no parking signs on either side of Spring Street. So by revisiting it, gives us the right to enforce it, in November of 2023. And 2, once a decision is made, signed by the members of the planning board, the abutters do get notification of our decision, and that starts the 20-day appeal process and gives them the right to appeal the decision.
If within the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had an opportunity to get down there And that's right, I think you saw the same thing I did. Cars out on Spring Street when there was no snow. Boy, the day it snowed, there were 2 cars out there, and they were halfway out in the travel lane, and people had to wait. That's my objection out there. I would think the guy who bought McDonald's might have a problem with that, because what he's trying to do is to make an effort to stimulate business with the drive-throughs. That's fine. But what everybody seems to forget is when you go to the window and order something in a drive-through, you got to sit there until it gets cooked, or sometimes maybe 5 minutes, or depends on whatever. So I think you should give this, the new owners an opportunity to, take a look at this thing and see. They may change their minds.
Well, this new plan does add, they say 5, I say 3 spaces. But that's still not enough, I believe, so, once they look at the sidewalk, the cost of the sidewalk, who knows what they'll come up with. But they have to put it in, and that was in our decision.
So what do you want, have them come in the 24th?
I mean, at this point, the hearing's closed, so we'd have to reopen a new hearing, correct, Mr. Chair?
Correct.
Yes. So we'd have to reopen a new hearing.
Yeah, but we didn't vote on it.
No, this is right now what we're doing.
This is, we're voting. We can put special conditions in our decision this evening that go above and beyond what the ZBA had decided. We can bring them in sooner. We can, put whatever conditions we feel may be a safeguard for how we feel.
Yeah, without any abutters being heard?
Well, the abutters were here
Yes, the
the night
people,
of the meeting. He's the one guy that said, the one
Correct.
abutter that lives across the street said he wanted it to be approved.
yes.
Okay, I appreciate what you're saying, but there's not a single abutter or anybody on the board who knew what that 1991 decision said, and all the members that signed it are deceased. So, I mean, it just sat there, and thankfully, Nicole was able to dig it out and so on and so forth, and I think one of the things we ought to figure out here tonight, who enforces that thing? The selectman, the building inspector, or who?
Who enforces,
The special permit.
building inspector should be the one that enforces it.
Well, if you take a look down there, not one damn thing in there has been enforced.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
That fell through the cracks,
I don't want you to agree with
imagine.
me too many times. It's-
Well, the building inspector, and then 2, I would imagine with the signs, that would be DPW. So I
Yes.
would imagine it's departments as a whole, depending on whose purview it falls under.
I'd feel much easier if we gave them an opportunity because if they haven't replied to the old permit at all, have they?
Yes, they have.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, they have?
Yeah,
They
yes.
have, didn't you receive a design of the sidewalk today?
I did receive a
Attended
design
it.
of the sidewalk, yes. Yes, I did. But it can't be presented at this hearing because
Yeah,
we
the
have
hearing is
closed it.
closed,
The
okay.
hearing is closed, yes.
But, well, okay, if if they've got to follow the 1991 permit, I'm surprised they're not sitting here with their lawyer.
Well, they seem to be going along with it, so,
They seem to
Well,
be,
yeah, I know, but they spent all kinds of money on these plans and
No.
came in and said what they were gonna do and so on and so forth. I can't believe they didn't take a look at that original.
no, but now they have to put in the sidewalk, they have to do all the original stuff, or they're not in compliance with our decision tonight.
When?
When?
Yeah, when?
well, in the ZBA decision, it says a special permit modification will remain in place until it can be revisited November of 2023. So we're giving them the right to modify, and then Cindy wanted to bring them back in 1 year.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, these people came in here to increase the business flow
Yeah,
by having extra windows. They can't do that with that 1991 permit. As a matter of fact, legally, they can't operate down there. They can't get a license because they never complied.
well, technically, yes.
Huh?
Now, Might we suggest that there, no, condition of this is no, second lane till they've satisfied the conditions of
The 1991 permit.
1991? That they can't start construction on the, kiosk till they've, satisfied the construction of 1991.
Well, you can have a discussion with them outside of the hearing on something like this.
Yeah. But if we put that condition in our conditions
Okay,
tonight,
if, my conversation is to the three of you. Say basically you bought McDonald's down here for $1 million. And-
I'm sorry. Hello? Oh. It's doctor's office.
Say you bought McDonald's down here for $1 million, and they thought to get the $1 million back, they want more windows, they want more of this, you know, I mean, it's a pretty healthy, change in plans. And then all of a sudden, you come out with this figure that says, nope, you can't do it. I think.
Can't do what? I'm sorry.
Well, the plan that you people get all these prints from is invalid. You can't have what they want down there. They want to park cars out on Spring Street, for one thing. They were gonna change a couple of parking spaces and so on and so forth. How are you gonna do that? Because the 1991 permit doesn't allow it. They've got to operate on the 1991 permit, not on this one.
Well, they won't be able to do anything on this one till they satisfy the 1991.
Mr. Chair, I think that is a great
That's not go-
suggestion, that they have to enact the 1991 special site plan, special permit, in order to proceed or be issued a building permit
Exactly.
for the construction of a second drive-through, or as they put it, a second order point. So they must satisfy, and at that point, we can always bring them back for review and have them submit a final as-built plan with the changes, with the construction, and then move forward and review that, and then, you know, give them the right to issue the building permit, or the permit should not be
I know,
issued
but,
until.
you know, our decision,
satisfied.
our decision basically is moot. They've got to follow the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Fine, you
they
know?
can't get the other one till they follow the first one, as
Okay,
that
fine.
she
They
just said.
cannot, yeah, they cannot put a second order point in until the special permit from 1991 is satisfied with the crosswalk, the sidewalk, the stop sign at Cross Street, stop sign, crosswalk, sidewalk, and the pedestrian sign.
Does that sound
So you-
satisfactory to you if we put that
Well, yeah,
condition?
I don't have a problem with that, you know, but what you gonna do with the hearing? Continue it for a year?
No, just the decision says that they can't build their kiosk till they satisfy the conditions from 1991.
Hearing's been cool.
And the DPW director will oversee that to be sure it is satisfied and to specifications and legal. And then without that being done, then they get no building permit.
It's unfortunate that anybody that was involved is no longer here. The original owner, you know, and all the members of the planning board are long since gone.
But we still have the paperwork.
We do.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the
Recorded.
paperwork basically that somebody in authority here didn't enforce it.
And, yeah, but that's
We're here and now. and-
our compliance officer, because it's not the planning board. We don't enforce them. We just make the rules.
Yeah, and it goes back quite a while, you know, it, through many building inspectors, and I'm sure many planning agents, and, you know, but I think if we put those conditions set forth that they must do the sidewalk, they must do the crosswalk, they must do what they should have done back in 1991, regardless if it's
The
been so
building
much time.
inspector is deceased, too.
Well, you know, Jeff is our acting building commissioner, and the permit will not be
Actually,
issued.
They've had a couple, plans come through the planning board and nobody picked up on that over the years. When they changed it from a cafe to a regular
Yeah,
McDonald's.
and then
then-
they added the new drive-through too, the
Yeah.
new screen, the new order screen. So it's been a
This is a-
process of many different changes, but now,
Drop balls.
yeah, many drop balls, but here and now, this is the time to do something.
Yeah. Now, so far, what do you have there? The conditions that she read, and we're gonna add an additional condition that they cannot,
Well, I think in the motion, it should include the date and the year of that original.
The
yeah.
original permit.
I think do you already have that when you?
I have October of 1991,
Yeah,
yeah. The exact date is October 3rd, 1991.
I remember that, too.
So we can put forth the conditions A, B, and C in numbers 1 through 4, as discussed, meaning the stop sign for pedestrians, the well-lit crosswalk sign, the stop sign, the no parking signs on Spring Street. And then we can keep the hours of operation, which really doesn't have an effect on us. The trash, which, you know, and the traffic safety officer implemented by the applicant at all costs associated therein, numbers 1 through 4. And we can also say that until the items on the special permit dated October 3rd, 1991 are satisfied, no building permit shall be issued by the building commissioner.
No building permit.
No building permit, because they need a building permit in order to build that second order point. And
that sounds
that-
like it covers the bases for me.
Yes.
I don't know,
And that signed decision,
I can't vote on this anyways,
I
I
know.
gotta,
and that,
but I
you
agree.
can comment.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, and that
Give us
signed
input.
decision follows with a copy of the building permit, because again, if they apply for a building permit, we look for that decision signed and recorded, and then that will state the stipulations, so,
And if we see anything going wrong, we do have the right to call them in.
absolutely, we can call them in at
Now,
any
part
time.
of the,
Is that sale gone through?
Sale for,
McDonald's?
yes, yes, I believe that
That?
the new owner does own McDonald's,
and 28 others,
So,
yes, and that is, what is his name?
not just a mom and
Joseph
pop
Spida,
anymore.
yep.
you know, I shouldn't say this, but the original owner knew about this.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
I don't imagine they were gonna bring it up.
So,
They got by with it, so.
Well, you know, the three of you put yourself in the shoes of the new buyer.
Well, the new buyer has lots of shoes because he owns 28 of these.
Buyer beware,
What's that?
buyer beware.
Can you write that motion?
So there,
I absolutely can. I absolutely can, yep. We can write the detailed decision in the effect of to mirror what I've written for the ZBA, and to also include the language that no building permit shall be issued until the permit
Okay.
from October 3rd,
I think that
1991.
would satisfy me, I don't know about.
Satisfied.
Same thing.
And
I
we
agree
also
with
can
that.
put some
I agree
language
with
that it's to be overseen by the DPW director, and we'll also, I mean, we can bring them back in, or we can just follow the process of making sure everything's been satisfied by looking at the plans that they're gonna submit for a sidewalk, and it's done to spec as far as, legally.
I'll make that as a motion, as long as she writes that up.
I
Okay.
absolutely
Okay.
will.
I will,
good.
I
We
will
don't-
make that as a motion.
Yeah, if it's not what you want,
I
when
will,
she writes it up,
yep,
Well, I know, but...
you don't have to sign it, you can say, we didn't discuss this, we just.
Well, if you're gonna vote on it tonight, why,
Yeah.
it stands.
But I'm saying she's gotta write it up.
Yep.
So you do have the chance to look at it and see that she put everything that we discussed in it.
yes. Yes, I will type that decision up tomorrow and email it to all of you.
Okay, that sounds good, do I, so, Mr.
So
Gould,
I just have a question. So what if they decide they don't want to go forward with the second kiosk? Then they don't have to do what was in the 1991
Well, technically, they do.
They do.
I know, but if we're putting it as a condition for that, and then they don't do that, they still have to do the sidewalk.
Well, there's nothing within our purview, then it goes back to the building inspector, who is our code enforcement officer.
Okay.
They can still force them to
Never
do it.
should have had
Yes.
a license now.
Jeff would have to write a letter to McDonald's Corporation stating that they're in violation, and then he can in turn make them, or
Now, is there a
suggest that they
certain amount of
comply.
time that they have to get this done, or we're just gonna let it
Special permits are good for 2 years.
2 years? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had said they were gonna do this in the spring.
Yeah.
So, no, there is no special time in that respect, but they can't start their kiosk or get a building permit
Until
till they do the other stuff,
Okay.
from what I understand.
Yes.
What's that?
You're right.
Now,
So Burton made the motion?
yes,
I'll second the motion.
okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 I have to abstain because I have a conflict, so I can't
Okay, and you
vote.
weren't at the meeting anyway. In some Mullen rules, so. Okay, so that's done.
Would be about it.
New business. Well, update from Asher Construction, Weller and Highland Street project.
Yes, so they are not, they're not here this evening, because again, they were gonna come for Doyle Ave, but Doyle Ave got bumped. So I reached out, actually Trevor and I spoke today, because we were talking about Doyle Ave. So I asked him just to put in a quick email this morning at 8:58 a.m., a little update that I can give to the planning board tonight, in their, not in their presence, but it says, "Hi Nicole, I am writing to brief the board about the Weller Street Development Project," and this is the Weller High Street Development. Ben, who is the owner of Asher Construction, and I are currently going over alternative design ideas due to the high cost of ledge removal, especially in the High Street driveway areas. If an alternative is decided on, we will finalize a new set of plans and present it to the planning board at a formal planning board meeting. Thank you, Trevor Fletcher. So they currently do have 3 building permits for 3 single-family homes, 2 on High Street, 1 on Weller, which they have not obviously done anything with, but they are proposing possibly a different plan to alleviate some of that blasting that would need to go on for the ledge removal. But nothing's been submitted into the office except for Trevor's email.
Now, how long ago did we give him approval for the driveway and the?
I believe Weller was in March. Let me, actually, I have it right here.
He's within. He's within.
Let's see. So the Weller recorded decision was 3/31/22 is when they
Okay,
recorded
so
their
they still have
decision.
a lot of
He's
time.
got-
Yep, so that was,
Their time.
Yeah,
the original
Got plenty of
was
time.
August 25th, 2020 was the original Weller Street, but, a lot of changes were made, so,
but the clock goes from this one.
yep, yep, so.
Okay. Well, see what else
Okay.
he'll come up with by then.
Yep, so that's the update.
Is that it?
That's it.
Move to adjourn.
Yes. Okay. I have a motion to adjourn from Mr. Gould.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Good job.
All in favor?
Thank you, thank you.
Aye.
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 And now we have to do is sign the plans for,
Yep.
Weller, and then to just sign the meeting minutes as well.
okay. Great.